Your waist measurement tells a darker story than you think. Your body has been storing two completely different types of fat this whole time and never once thought to explain the difference. One of them is the kind you can grab, poke, and complain about in a dressing room mirror. The other one rented space around your organs years ago, never paid a single bill, and has been quietly destroying the property ever since. There are actually two completely different types of belly fat living inside you, and one of them is way more dangerous than the other. The soft, pinchable fat right under your skin is called subcutaneous fat. It's annoying, it messes with your beach photos, but it mostly just sits there doing nothing bad. The dangerous one is called visceral fat. You cannot pinch it. You cannot even feel it. It lives deep inside your belly, wrapped around your liver, your kidneys, your pancreas, and your intestines like an uninvited houseguest who is slowly trashing the place. Visceral fat doesn't just sit there quietly. It shoots out harmful chemicals called cytokines straight into your blood all day long. Your organs are basically swimming in toxic signals every single day, and you have no idea it's happening. A waist over 40 inches for men or over 35 inches for women isn't just a pants problem. Doctors use that number to predict your chances of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and dying too early. The scariest part? Skinny people can have dangerous visceral fat too. You don't have to look fat to have fat wrapped around all the wrong places inside your body. Your liver is drowning in fat and you have no idea. Your liver has been doing over 500 jobs a day since the moment you were born and has never once asked for a raise, a day off, or an apology for what you put it through in your 20s. It just keeps filtering, processing, and quietly cleaning up after every single decision you have ever made, including that third slice of pizza last Tuesday and the one before that, without filing a single complaint. That unconditional loyalty is exactly why nobody notices when it starts drowning. Most people think liver damage only happens to heavy drinkers. That used to be true. Now millions of people are wrecking their livers without touching a single drop of alcohol, and belly fat is the one doing the damage. When too much fat builds up around your midsection, your liver gets flooded with fatty acids released directly from that fat tissue. The liver tries to process all of it, but eventually gets completely overwhelmed. Fat starts piling up inside the liver cells themselves. Doctors call this non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, or NAFLD. Left alone long enough, it progresses into serious scarring that permanently shuts down how well your liver filters blood, regulates sugar, and keeps your body running. That progression can happen slowly over many years, while you feel completely normal with zero warning signs showing up anywhere. About 25% of adults worldwide already have some stage of fatty liver disease right now. Most of them have never been told. Early stages rarely show up in standard blood work, so by the time routine tests flag something, the damage has usually been quietly building for a very long time. Your blood sugar is on a roller coaster and belly fat is driving. Somewhere right now, a perfectly reasonable person is eating a reasonable lunch and their blood sugar is behaving like a toddler who just found the sugar cabinet, spiking, crashing, and making absolutely no sense to anyone in the room. They will be useless by 2 p.m., ransacking the kitchen for something sweet by 3 p.m., and completely convinced they just need more sleep. They do not need more sleep. Their belly fat has been handing out bad instructions to their insulin system for years and treated the whole situation like none of their business. When visceral fat accumulates deep in your abdomen, it releases fatty acids and inflammatory signals that travel straight to your muscle and liver cells. Those cells start ignoring insulin, the hormone responsible for pulling sugar out of your blood and turning it into energy. When your cells stop listening to insulin, your pancreas panics and pumps out even more of it trying to force the job done. This condition is called insulin resistance, and belly fat is one of the biggest drivers of it. The more visceral fat you carry, the harder your pancreas has to work, and the worse your blood sugar control becomes over time. Eventually, your pancreas burns out from overwork and blood sugar stays elevated permanently, which is exactly how type 2 diabetes develops. The frustrating part is that insulin resistance often shows zero obvious symptoms for years. You might just feel a little sluggish after meals, notice you get hungrier faster than you used to, or struggle to lose weight no matter how little you eat. Those aren't personality flaws or laziness. That is your metabolic system gradually breaking down while visceral fat runs the whole operation. You're always tired, and your belly fat is literally stealing your energy. There is a person out there who has slept 8 full hours, woken up exhausted, dragged themselves through the morning on 3 cups of coffee, and spent the afternoon convinced they just need a vacation. They do not need a vacation. They need to know that the fat wrapped around their organs is running a stress hormone factory that never shuts off. Visceral fat is one of the strongest triggers for cortisol, the hormone your body releases during stress. A little cortisol is useful. It helps you react quickly when something goes wrong. But when belly fat keeps that cortisol dripping into your system around the clock, your body thinks it is in a permanent emergency. Your heart rate stays slightly elevated, your muscles stay slightly tense, and your brain stays slightly wired, all of which burns through your energy reserves at a shocking rate. The cruel twist is that high cortisol then signals your body to store even more fat, specifically in your abdomen. So the belly fat creates cortisol, and the cortisol creates more belly fat. That loop keeps spinning whether you notice it or not. Chronically high cortisol also breaks down muscle tissue for fuel, tanks your motivation, clouds your thinking, and makes it nearly impossible to feel genuinely rested, no matter how many hours you log in bed. People in this cycle often get diagnosed with burnout, depression, or thyroid problems, when the root issue sitting underneath all of it is visceral fat driving a hormonal system completely off the rails. Your heart is working overtime because of that gut. Your cholesterol is perfect. Your blood pressure is perfect. Your doctor is proud of you. Your visceral fat is also proud of you. It has been growing undisturbed for years. That is because the standard heart checkup was never designed to find it. It was designed to catch problems that have already fully developed, and visceral fat does its worst damage long before any of those tests notice anything wrong. Visceral fat does not just affect the organs it touches directly. It dumps inflammatory compounds, different ones than your liver deals with, straight into the portal vein, which feeds directly into your heart's surrounding blood supply. Those chemicals damage the walls of your arteries over time, making them stiffer, narrower, and far more likely to develop dangerous plaques that can block blood flow entirely. On top of that, carrying excess weight deep in your abdomen forces your heart to pump blood through a much larger network of blood vessels that visceral fat creates just to keep itself alive. Your heart never asked for that extra workload. It just gets it anyway, every single beat, every single day, for years. Studies show that people with high visceral fat have significantly elevated risks of heart attack and stroke, even when their body weight looks completely normal from the outside. A flat stomach on the surface means nothing if the deep tissue underneath is loaded with fat wrapping around major vessels. Your heart keeps score even when the bathroom mirror does not show anything unusual staring back at you. You can't sleep through the night, and your belly fat is why. Somewhere right now, a person is on their fourth sleep supplement, their second white noise machine, and their first weighted blanket, convinced they are simply a person who cannot sleep. They are not a person who cannot sleep. They are a person with visceral fat disrupting their hormones at 2 a.m., while their $90 pillow watches helplessly from the other side of the bed. Visceral fat disrupts sleep through several different pathways at once. First, it raises cortisol levels at night when they are supposed to be dropping. Your body needs cortisol to fall close to zero after midnight, so deep restorative sleep can actually happen. When belly fat keeps that hormone elevated, your brain stays in a low-grade alert state that pulls you out of deep sleep cycles repeatedly without you fully waking up enough to remember it. Second, visceral fat is strongly linked to sleep apnea, a condition where your airway partially collapses during sleep, cutting off oxygen and jolting your nervous system awake dozens of times per night. Most people with sleep apnea never know they have it. They just know they wake up feeling like they got hit by something. Poor sleep then drives up hunger hormones, tanks willpower, and pushes your body to store even more abdominal fat the following day. Every bad night of sleep makes the underlying problem worse. That cycle keeps compounding quietly for years until the exhaustion becomes so normal that people stop questioning it and just accept feeling terrible as their new baseline. Your body is inflamed like an active fire, and belly fat is the match. Imagine hiring a contractor to fix a small leak in your roof, and instead of fixing it, they just kept pouring water into every room of the house while handing you a mop. That is essentially what visceral fat does to your immune system. It triggers an inflammatory response that was designed to handle short-term threats, then keeps that response running non-stop for years until the damage spreads everywhere. Visceral fat releases a steady stream of inflammatory molecules that put your immune system on permanent high alert. Your body starts treating its own tissues like a threat. Joints ache for no clear reason. Digestion gets sluggish and unpredictable. Skin flares up. Brain fog rolls in and makes concentrating feel like thinking through wet concrete. None of these seem connected on the surface, but they are all branches of the same root problem. Chronic inflammation from visceral fat has been directly tied to accelerated aging at the cellular level. It shortens telomeres, the protective caps on your DNA, which speeds up how fast your cells break down and stop regenerating properly. Researchers studying populations with the longest lifespans consistently find low visceral fat and low systemic inflammation as two of the strongest predictors of living well past 80. The liver damage, the hormonal chaos, the heart strain, the wrecked sleep, none of those are random. They all have the same address, and that address is deep abdominal fat driving chronic inflammation around the clock. Recognizing the source is what separates people who actually get better from people who keep treating symptoms forever. If this video just changed the way you think about your body, subscribe, because there is a lot more your body has been trying to tell you.